blessed every day, man. Hi,
Absolutely.
everybody. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Oregon Fans Show, the place where we talk with Duck fans and college football experts about the things that make us want to shout. Our guest this afternoon in the second hour of the program, I've always wanted to say that, is Joel Norris of Pigskin Frenzy. Uh, his podcast, he hosts new episodes every Tuesday and Thursday. Is that right, Joel? Where do people
That is
find
right.
you?
Man, they can find me pretty much everywhere. I mean, X, Instagram, TikTok. There's a new social media platform for sports media called a Buzzer, BZZR, and you can find me on there. I post on there as well. YouTube, Podbean, Spotify, Apple, all platforms. Just subscribe and follow. Man, it's great to be here. I'm thankful that you invited me on the show. And like I said, man, I praise the Lord every day. And I'm so thankful that the Lord has blessed me to be in college ball media and to let me be able to be on shows like this to spread his name and to talk college football.
Well, I love that. You shared that conviction. Whoops, I got to, ooh, man. I almost want to take this call. It's Brayton Feaster's dad, man. I'll have to call him back at the end of the show, but that is a big call right there. I'm delighted to get to talk to him as well as to talk to you. How are you?
Man, I'm doing good. It is finally college football, right? I mean, we're finally here. But at the same time, it's like we're still being held back from the games because of all the stuff going on outside of it. And I'm sitting there thinking, man, can we just get to college football? Can we just get to the part where we can just see the pigskin being tossed? Can we get to the part where we can see all these exciting matchups happen and get to talk about the games and the playoff matchups potentially and all that instead of just, hey, you know what? Let's talk about what's going on in this courtroom and that courtroom. It's like, can we just play the game, right?
Joel, I like the way you think. Let's just do that. Originally, when I reached out to you, I said we need to talk about this and iron out all this controversy stuff. But let's
We
not
can talk
do
about
it.
anything.
Let the lawyers fight with the lawyers. Let with the shout out or the shouting pundits scream about who's right and who's wrong. Let's just talk some football.
I've
What
already talked about it on my episode today, so we're good, man.
All right, folks, if you want to dive more into the whole controversy over whether NFL players should be able to come back to college and all that other stuff, visit Joel Norris's Pigskin Frenzy podcast on your favorite podcast channel. And he's got it. He's got all the news and he breaks down the arguments. We're not doing that right now because we're exhausted about that. We want to talk about some ball. We have Thursday night games this week, Joel?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it's like I think it's like FCS.
All right.
Maybe
Well,
I believe. I think it's FCS.
yeah, let me pull up the schedule on ESPN and we'll get some knowledge and facts in front of us. Is there any game this weekend that you're particularly interested in seeing?
I think that ACC game with NC State and Virginia is going to be something. I talked about that on my show too, and I predicted it and previewed it. I picked NC State to win. I'm very interested in seeing one, which quarterback's going to be a lot better and who's going to make better plays down the stretch. Is it going to be Bo Pribula, or is it for Virginia, or is it going to be CJ Bailey from NC State? I'm curious about that. I think that's a very intriguing matchup. Dave Dorian, as for NC State head coach, has notoriously said, not in his exact words, but I'll paraphrase, I guess, we're kind of tired of being the gatekeepers a little bit in that conference. We want to try to contend for an ACC conference championship. And then on the flip side, you got Virginia, who coming off of a Gator Bowl win against Missouri. They're coming back in with trying to regain and keep up that momentum from last year with Bo Pribula at quarterback, Peyton Lewis at running back, and trying to get that dynamic 1-2 punch going on offense and trying to keep up that momentum, right? So I think it's going to be a very interesting start between those two because I wouldn't say it stinks. It's not going to really hurt them down the long run, maybe. But you certainly wouldn't want to start off with a loss, right? If you're either one of them. So one's trying to gain momentum, one's trying to keep up that momentum. So I'm very curious to see what happens there.
This is why we invite you on, man. I always say that I'm the Jon Snow of college football. I know nothing, but I get to talk to a lot of really smart people. By the end of the day, I've learned a little something. Now, forgive me, this is a really elemental question, but is that a conference game? Are they starting the season with a conference game?
Mm-hmm. Conference game in week 0. And that's what makes it so fun and exciting, because you're thinking we get a conference game right off the bat. So it's interesting. I'm curious about it. I'm excited about it. And the other game everyone's going to be interested in as well is the Dublin game, if you want to be real on that. But the Dublin game to me is like, can the curse be broken? I think that game's cursed. That game terrifies me. And I'll tell you why that game terrifies me. It's because whoever wins that game ends up having a decent season or just a meh kind of season, or whoever loses has one of the worst seasons in program history. It never fails. So, i.e. the losers, the 2 previous losers of this game, Florida State, Kansas State. You look at them and you're like, man, they didn't really have good years at all. So it's like, to me, who's going to break that curse and go on to have a good year? I think that game to me is something. And I want to see if TCU or North Carolina could probably win or lose or draw or whatever, have a good game. And not just have a good game, end up having a good year after this game. Can they break that curse? That's a very interesting point as well.
To answer my previous question, there are no Thursday games. It looks like everything starts with Saturday, August 29th. And I agree with you, that game in Dublin or in Ireland, it kind of wrecks teams. I really feel like the season Florida State played Georgia Tech, that just set the tone for a really nasty season for the Tar Heels. The Seminoles, they just kind of fell apart after that football game.
And there's just some questions for North Carolina, too. What's that offense going to look like under Bobby Petrino? Is Billy Edwards, who's starting at quarterback for them, is he going to be healthy enough down the stretch as well? It's come off of a really, I would say, I wouldn't say not that severe, but pretty gnarly knee injury. Can he be healthy? And can they be tough up front as well? Because you didn't see a lot of that last year in Bill Belichick's first year as head coach there. But can they this year? It's a different year. That's why there's year 2 and potentially year 3. That's why there's different years to rebuild on. So we'll see. We'll just have to see what happens on Saturday. But I think those are some question marks for North Carolina. And that's why I picked TCU to beat North Carolina on Saturday, because I think right now TCU just has a little bit more talent on their side of their ball and on their roster than North Carolina does at this point in time. But we'll figure it out. I may be wrong. So
it's an early game too. North Carolina, TCU, 9 a.m. Pacific times. That would be noon your time.
Or 11, I think. Yeah, because I'm in Central, so 11. Noon Eastern.
Yeah. At Aviva Stadium in Dublin, Ireland. It's kind of funny watching those games because the fans, brand new to football, they don't really get it, but they're really willing to get excited. And they're trying to look for something to get excited about.
Yeah, it's like when you look at week 0 matchups, you're sitting there and you're thinking, man, it's just college football, right? It is just college football. We're here, we're back. And it's just that feeling in your stomach when you're excited. Like, there's some sort of college football game being played, right? It may not even be my favorite team, but there's some sort of college football game that is being played right now. And that's why everyone's just so, we got to watch this game on week 0. Stanford and Hawaii are playing on Saturday, folks. And we're sitting here and thinking, you know what? I'm genuinely excited about that game because it's college football. It's just the greatest sport on earth. When the game is being played, it is the greatest sport on earth. The outside noise of it's kind of, But when you're talking about the game being played, It's the greatest sport on earth. It makes you excited. No matter what team's being played, it makes you excited.
Joel, why is it the greatest sport on earth?
To me, it's the tradition, the pageantry. There's just more tradition in this sport than any other. Rivalries, like, look, this is not a knock at the NFL or other sports. There's rivalries in other sports, but not quite like college football. They just take it up a notch with traditions, with pageantry. For example, I'll give you an example. When Alabama wins in their games, they sing Rammer Jammer, and they go by their team mascots, whoever they play. Like LSU is Hey Tigers. Hey Tigers, we just beat the you-know-what out of you. With Auburn, they're the only school that Alabama, when they beat Auburn, they actually say their full name, Auburn. And I think it's honestly, that gives me chills in itself, and that gives you an example right there that college football is great. One, it's the greatest sport on because of that rivalry. In multiple rivalries, that's hatred. It is, it's toughness. It's you name it. I mean, the remarkable moments that are being made on each and every Saturday. There's any given Saturday. The upsets are like no other. Like when you see an upset in the NFL, you're like, oh, yay. Okay, cool. I didn't expect them to win. But when you see an upset on Saturday with college football, you're sitting there and you're like, man, like in awe because we didn't see it coming. It's unpredictable. I think that is why college football is the greatest sport on earth. Because of moments, because of pageantry, tradition, rivalries that you can't get anywhere else. And to me, moments in games and debate, and not only that, just in terms of viewership, it's just another level compared to any other sport. So to me, that's why it's the greatest sport on earth. Not just because of all those things, and because of the love that people like myself dedicate, and give to this sport. So I think that's why it's the greatest sport on earth.
That was a wonderful answer. I knew if I just asked you a couple of questions, I could just let you cook.
I mean, I'm sorry. I can be a little bit long-winded sometimes.
I love the passion in your answer, and that passion is exactly why college football is the greatest sport in the world, or at least in America. Yeah. Now, I want to read something that you have up pinned on your Twitter handle, because I think it's just beautiful. It encapsulates you perfectly. If you want a show that tells it how it is lighthearted, but can also be bold, fun, and can be your scapegoat when you're feeling pressure from anything, then listen to Pigskin Frenzy, talking all things college football on all platforms every Tuesday and Thursday. Now, that is a mission statement.
I mean, what's funny about that is it was, I don't know what time it was, probably at midnight my time. And I was done editing. And I see a lot of people who are, and this is not me getting into the limelight and I'm being a little bit bold here by saying this, but a lot of people are expressing their unwanted opinions and beliefs, right? There's a lot of people out there. And look, it's fine. I express my beliefs because I'm a Christian. I believe in the Lord. So I express my beliefs on my show all the time. But I see a lot of it when you're trying to watch a tape on SportsCenter, when you're trying to watch something online about football, NFL, college basketball, whatever sport you love, and you don't really get that with what you're watching. I was done editing, and I saw one video. I'm not going to name the person. I'm not going to name the video. But I saw the video, and I'm like, I don't know if we're supposed to really – why are we talking about this on there when we're expected to watch sports? So then I tweeted out that because I feel like my show is whenever you're feeling pressure from something, whenever you're feeling like, okay, I just need to get away, something to talk about my favorite, team on college football or just college football in general. I believe that, and I believe wholeheartedly, because look, my show is still on the rise. I'm not going to sit there and say, I'm an on-3 person, or I'm a what's 24/7 Sports yet, or give me that deal. I'm not saying all that yet. I'm not that. I'm very humbled to be where I'm at right now. But I will say this, that I do believe in myself. I believe in my show. I believe in the trajectory where my show is going. And I believe that it can be a show where it's for everybody. And I say it on my show a lot. It's a we show, which means, look, engage with me, talk with me, and whatever you want to talk about, like, okay, I want you to talk about this on the show. I've done it, and I'll do it. I'll continue to do it. For example, someone said that George Reister and I were the superheroes of CFB Media, Batman and Robin style. So we played into that last Thursday. You need to get more. I had Jake Crane on my show last year from Crane and Con and On 3. Man, when are you gonna get your brother on, or his brother on, Blaine? I have Blaine on coming up, Thursday, right? So it's all about listening to your audience. It's about listening to them and being a cute community, really. And it's about whenever they're feeling pressure, whenever they're feeling something, they want to show they can just fall out of the world from, right? Just fall out of space from, just clear their head from. I believe that my show delivers that, right? Now, I can get riled up. Trust me. I got a little bit riled up talking about the NCAA. I get riled up talking about the AP poll, right? But I think people want to hear that. People want to hear the passion and delivery. They want to escape from all that's going on and pressures in the world and just listen to college football if they're in love with the sport like I am. So I feel like that's the best mission statement that I can have. I still have it pinned. I know it's been probably years since I've written that, but it's just the best thing that I can come up with. And not only the best thing I can come up with, it's the best thing that I need to keep on there because it's the truth. You know what I mean? It's about us. It's about a community. So, and I believe that if we're in it together, who can stop us, right? So I think that's really my take on that. I'm glad that you brought that up. A lot of people haven't brought that up, so I'm kind of glad that you did.
Well, I completely agree with you about community, which I believe is the heart of college football. And we're very privileged to be a part of it, even in my case, a minor part of it. Let's get back to the games. Yeah. I'm very curious about this San Jose State at USC game. Now, USC is probably favored by, I don't even know, probably 4 to 5 touchdowns or more. But this is a new look USC team, number 14 in the AP poll. They've got big designs. They say they're back. They say they're returning to the glory of the past. I want to see how legit that is. I want to see execution on the field and some stoutness in the trenches.
Absolutely. And you were 100% right. And by the way, you say minor part. Man, you were on my show, by the way. So I'm thankful that you came on my show and gave me the time to come on and talk about some Oregon football. So, man, to me, we all can be a big part, right? In any capacity, right? This is what makes college football fun, getting on shows like this to talk. So I would say minor, man. I mean, you're awesome, and I appreciate you having me on. So, I mean, to me, in terms of USC, and I get it. I think USC is a playoff or bust team. My bold prediction, my number one bold prediction, I don't know if you saw this, was they're going to make the playoff. Now, they have a tough schedule ahead. There's no excuses. Everyone says, Joel, give them grace. You can't give them grace because it's now kind of a do or die a little bit. Lincoln Riley has gone on record and said, hey, we got a championship team on our hands. Oh, do you? Okay. Now it's time to back that up because those are some bold words. That's not me being cocky or arrogant. I'm being honest. You have to back that up now. When you say something, you got to double down on it. I said Auburn was going to win 8 games. I'm still saying it. I'm not shying away from that. You have to double down on that. If you have a championship team, you got to coach like it now. So that's number one. Can they be physical? That's number 2. Can their defense be tough enough? And with Gary Patterson as their new defensive coordinator, that's number 3. Yeah. And can they win on the road? That's another question. There's a bunch of questions. I like Jaden Mayav at quarterback. I think he's a really good quarterback. I think he, with a lot of receivers, including Terrell Anderson there, I think they're going to be pretty stout on offense. Now, the question is, are they going to be physical and tough enough up front and on defense? Who knows? That's the big question every time with USC. Can they get those things fixed, and can they win on the road? Those are the big questions there. And they have a very tough schedule. For San Jose State, I think they will win that game, but it will show a little bit of what they need to do to work on some things. We will show what they're doing right off the bat that's well. So it's kind of and I hate to say it like this because I like San Jose State, but it's kind of in that regard of a tune-up game, just a little bit, because they're really their first big. I mean, they have Rutgers, and Rutgers has some good players on their team, but their first really big contest they got coming up is what does that say? The Oregon Fan Show. Oregon is right. That word Oregon is right there. So that's their first true test coming up for USC. We're going to see how they play leading up to that game. It's going to be very interesting. But yeah, like you said, you're right. There are some questions on for USC, but if they can get those questions figured out, I think they could be a playoff team. I'm not saying championship team. I will say playoff or bust team.
Well, they're definitely a playoff or bust team, right? Because Lincoln Riley said right out of the gate, we have a championship caliber roster. That means if he goes 9-3 or 8-4, he's a disappointment.
And that's what I said. I said that if you kind of miss the playoff right now despite your schedule, I would consider that an underwhelming season. Now, last year, I said, hey, 8 or 9 wins. You're good. And he achieved that. He did. Yeah. Now, there's no more you have to make the playoff at this point because it's year 5. You've built up. You contended last year. You came this close. Now it's time to up it a little bit, get an at-large spot at least, and then you're good, right? So I think that's for me. Yeah.
He's got pardon me, Joel. He's got an easy ramp up to the season in that they open with San Jose State, Fresno State, and Louisiana all at home. And then they go on the road to Rutgers, which is not a top tier football team. So they should start 4-0 without really breaking a sweat.
They do have a better team than Rutgers. I'm sorry for interrupting. I didn't mean to cut you off, but they have a better team than Rutgers. But I will say there's some players on Rutgers that are really, really good, including KJ Duff and Antoine Raymond, running back and receiver respectively. So they got some good guys there. But you're right. They do have the better football team.
The Scarlet Knights will test that defense a little bit. But then the schedule gets much, much harder. They have number 2 Oregon, number 17 Washington at home, followed by a road trip to Happy Valley to play number 18 Penn State. So that's 3, strong teams right in a row. And their bye comes, but I can't see where it is right here. And then just a couple weeks down the road, October 31st, they play Ohio State in the Coliseum. Then they travel to number 6 Indiana on November 14th. That's 5 ranked teams. If Riley's going to make good on his promise, he's got to go 3-2 in those matchups against ranked teams.
He has to. It's very tough. He has to at least lose 2. He can't lose more than 2.
Yeah.
And that's very tough with that schedule. You're asking a lot. It is a very if you ask me right now, who are one of the teams under the most pressure this year? I think it's USC. I will wholeheartedly agree with that. You can't argue with that. I mean, look at their schedule. Look at the words he's using. We're a championship team. And then you're like, oh, really? But look at the schedule. Yeah. It's really a do or die playoff or bust type of year. And it couldn't have come at a more pressured filled time with that schedule, So it's like, it's a 50-50 ball right now. It's a jump ball, as we say in basketball. You jump the ball, and we're going to see who's going to balance it out and get the, who's going to get that tip, right? Is it going to be the non-playoff side or the playoff side, right? We're going to figure it out, but I don't know, man.
Riley had a Heisman Trophy quarterback, and the Trojans have not made the playoffs in 12 years.
I'm just going to sit here and say this, man, talking about this. Look, you know how when The Rock has like the goosebumps and he slaps his arm with the mana, all that stuff. That's when it comes. That's like me when college football starts coming. I'm slapping the arms, getting ready, getting fired up. I love talking about this, man. It is definitely one of those things with USC where you look at them and you're thinking, man, they have the tools to make the playoff, but it always seems to just like, okay, you never seem to not let us down, right? You always seem to let us down when it tries to count, right? So we're so close to making it to the playoffs. Oh, we just lost to Oregon. Oh, we just lost to Michigan. Oh, and you're like, man, you have the tools, but you lose. You drop these games that in reality, talent-wise, you probably don't really need to lose. Now, maybe Oregon's a different example. I think Ohio State, and a lot of people are going to sit here and say this to me about Ohio State. I think Ohio State and USC is a 50-50 game. I really do. That's a bold prediction, probably. Their roster, Ohio State's is loaded, man. A lot of people are saying, Ohio State with their defense, you're replacing the stuff on defense with Arvell Reeds and Sonny Styles. Let's look at their offensive coordinator. I still question the Arthur Smith deal. I really do. Is that going to be a long-term down the stretch? Is that going to be a good hire? And it may be, but it may not be. We don't know. We don't know until we see the games. So Ohio State's a 50-50 game. I'm not saying that Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith aren't bad or anything. They're phenomenal players. Jeremiah Smith's the best college football player out there. He's the best player in college football, no doubt. But that USC game could be a 50-50 game. So that benefits USC a little bit because of that Arthur Smith hire. I'm still questioning that. Indiana, it's very hard for me to sit there and say Indiana because I don't want to doubt Indiana. That Cignetti syndrome is real. That disownership of Cignetti is real. Like people hate on Cignetti and all this, and he comes back and rises from the ashes, beats everybody, and you're the one, left in the dirt, sad, and okay, I'm wrong, and then I'm embarrassed because I doubted Kirk Cignetti. So there's a possibility there where they could lose that game as well. USC is in a predicament right now, and I know we're talking about them a lot, but they're in a predicament right now where it is a 50-50 shot. And we're about to, like I said with a basketball analogy, they're tipping the ball. We're going to see where the ball lands.
Well, they do have a great running game.
They do. And
Tanner Hines feels to me like a receiver who's going to maybe take that next step and be an 800,000 yard receiver. But yeah, Lincoln's opened his mouth. Now he's got to write the check, and it makes sure it doesn't bounce.
Yes.
I want to go back to something you were talking about earlier. Bill Belichick in North Carolina. It feels a little bit to me like his legacy is on the line. I don't know if that's fair, given the fact that he's won all those Super Bowls, but he went to college football thinking it would be easy. And for a man who has always been about no distractions, focused completely on the game, he's created a lot of distractions for himself. In Chapel Hill.
I mean, if you look, or Chapel Bill, as they call it. For North Carolina, for me, and for Bill Belichick, I don't know about legacy, if that's the right word. To me, it's like, it's different, because if he was doing stuff like this in the NFL now, right, I think his legacy would be in question then. I think it's different to me. Like, I think it's just a different league. And a lot of people will say, well, you don't know what you're talking about. This is his overall coaching history. But, I mean, look at what he did in the NFL. It's a different game than college football. He can't come in, and he said this last year, he can try to model it after the NFL. That's why NIL's kind of like the NFL. It's not really, though. You know what I mean? It's different. It's not the NFL. You can try your best to try to model it after the NFL, but at the end of the day, it's not going to work. It's not. It's going to be college. You're still recruiting 18 to 24-year-olds. Well, if you want to talk about eligibility stuff, then we're getting into that conversation. But anyway, primarily 18 to 24-year-olds. He's still recruiting at that age group and base. So for me, I don't really think his legacy's on the line necessarily. Now, I do think that his tenure at North Carolina could be on the line. And I don't know if it's going to damage his overall legacy. Because, look, he's had bad years with the Patriots. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's going to hurt his legacy. He's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He is. But in terms of college, I mean, he may end up just, okay, he lost the job or right, you know, if he doesn't work out, he loses the job, okay, right. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer in the NFL. You know what I mean? To me, it didn't really affect his legacy because it's a different sport. I just think that this season, in terms of North Carolina, it's more about where are the Tar Heels going program wise, and it's his tenure on the line, really. Like it's his run there on the line. Not really legacy overall, but how are they going to be, you know, and what's his tenure going to look like there in the future, if that makes sense. Just basically just North Carolina based, not really Bill Belichick based. What's his tenure going to look like? Who are they going to? Is he on the hot seat, or does he get let go at the end of the year if they, for example, lose this game and go 2-10, right? Okay, he's not really working out here. We got to move on and get somebody else. I think that would be it, but I don't know if it would damage his legacy, though. Maybe that's an interesting take. I just think it's just too different for me in terms of pro and college.
Well, the distinction you make is a fair one. I think perhaps I should have said that I believe it will tarnish his legacy a little bit, because we went in with this grand vision of making North Carolina the 33rd team in the NFL. And it just didn't work out that way. And he's delivered much less than what he expected to.
And that could be a fair point, I guess, right? I just think that, to me, it's really hard to overlook what he has done in his football career. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he's had a bad tenure maybe at North Carolina if he does have an unsuccessful second year, right? He may have a bad tenure there. But it's really hard to turn away, man, I won 6 Super Bowls. You know what I mean? That's very hard to underlook or overlook that. Like, that's very hard. So to me, I don't know if his legacy is overall tarnished. It may put a little bit of a hit, but it may not be like, I don't think it's going to be all that bad. It's just really, like I said, it's really hard to overlook those 6 rings. To me, that's just my thoughts on it a lot. Look, to me, you can even say the same thing about Dabo. Does Dabo need to evolve? Yeah, he does. But he's still a national championship head coach, a 2-time national championship head coach. To me, he is still a Hall of Famer, no doubt. And he's been a really, really good college football coach. So to me, I know he's had a up and down couple of years maybe. I mean, he made the playoffs 2 years ago. So, but if he had a down year last year. Technically, he won 7 games, but he still made a bowl game. For Dabo, it's like he's still like the legacy's still there for him. Does he have to evolve? Yes, of course, but I don't think that's going to change his legacy and what he's done at Clemson. To me, Bill Belichick hadn't done anything in North Carolina yet, obviously, but his overall tenure in coaching, I don't know if that you can overlook what he has done in coaching with those 6 rings and what he has done and how many games he's won. So
I don't, as a fan, I don't especially like Dabo in that I feel he makes it too much about himself. That whole run on the field ahead of your team thing, and he's not just one of my favorites. I do respect he's got 2 national championships, and out here the Ducks don't have any in 130 years of football. So I can't really be too critical of him.
Oregon could. I mean, they're getting close. I mean, and that's what we talked about on our show. They're getting close. I mean, it's a step process. Like, I mean, every single year they're getting closer and closer, and they're close to reaching it. My bold prediction was I didn't pick a national championship winner. It is hard for me to sit there and say, oh, 12-team bracket. To me, it's like, cool. You can make predictions on it. I just want to see the games first before I sit and say, yeah, they're a playoff team. Because there could be some people that are picking, I don't know, SMU to go to the, be in the playoff, but they may be far from a playoff team when you watch them play. So maybe it's like, don't be scared, man. It's not that I'm scared. It's that I'm using my head a little bit on this. I want to see the games first. Because in your prediction, they may be good on paper. Paper doesn't always translate on the field. So we're going to see. But in my bold prediction, I said at least that Oregon would make the national championship game. On paper, they are one of, if not the best team in the country. They're loaded. Offensive line, maybe a little bit of concern. Maybe I said that during the spring. But overall, receiver room, loaded. Quarterback room led by Dante Moore, solid. Running game, solid. Defensive line, probably one of the best in the country. Coy Parrish, now there at safety in the secondary. He bolsters up that secondary. Good move. They got some guys. Can they make it? Can they make the championship game? Who knows? But I think bold prediction for me is they at least make it. I don't know if they win it or not. A lot of people have them winning it. But I think bold prediction for me is they at least make the game because of how loaded they are on paper. But yet again, what I just said, paper sometimes doesn't always translate on the field.
13 of the 25 teams ranked in last year's top 25 finished unranked. People forget that. We make all these neat little scenarios about what it will look like and who's good and who's got talent. Last year at this time, we were all saying, maybe not all of us, but many people were saying that Penn State, Clemson, and LSU were all going to be playoff teams because they had a returning senior quarterback and a lot of senior leadership on their team. And each one of those teams finished 7-5 in the regular season, barely made a bowl, and were a long way, not even within a shout of making the playoffs.
And the thing is, I had Cade Klubnik as the best quarterback going into the 2025 year. Yeah. Fernando Mendoza won the Heisman Trophy, guys, by the way. I just want to let y'all know now. He was the best quarterback in the country.
Yeah.
The prediction I made, by the way, which I got right, it was in September. I said Fernando Mendoza, maybe a Heisman lot because the way he has been playing, he was balling out. I said that last September. He hoisted up the trophy. Now, you look at a lot of what's going on in the rankings now. It's like you can't sit there and say, hey, this team's going to be special. They're going to win. Because like you said, they may be unranked by week 4 or 5. Who knows? That's why we got to wait. Look, predictions are great. It's fun for graphics. It's fun for the shows. If I had a football here, I would just place it on the table as an analogy for like the grass. Like put it on the grass, turf, whatever y'all play on, and we play the game. That's what we need to do. Strap up our helmets, put on our pads, lock in, play college football. And I think that's what we need to start doing because now we're at that stage where the time for talk is probably a little bit over. We can talk about these games. That's our jobs. But at the end of the day, I think for players, it's time to put up or shut up now. I mean, really. I mean, let's be honest.
Predictions are something to keep the content flowing and give us a chance to talk in June and July.
100%.
It's 4 days until we start playing football, 11 days until everybody starts playing football. I want to go back before I let you go, and I appreciate all this time you've given me. It's been incredibly fun. But
awesome.
What you said about Arthur Smith and Ohio State. Now, the Buckeyes reload every year. They've won 9 national championships. They win 11 or 12 games almost every season. They're a tremendous program. But I look at Arthur Smith, and sure, he's got an NFL pedigree, but his offenses at Tennessee, Atlanta, and Pittsburgh were kind of staid. I don't really see any real innovation. I don't really see anything there that's going to utilize all this. They've got the best three-headed monster in college football in Bo Jackson, Julian Sayin, and Jeremiah Smith. But I don't see anything that Arthur Smith did in Pittsburgh that's going to make those guys better players.
And you look, and that's why I mentioned, and that's the big question mark, is a lot of people are looking at, what they're looking at is the talent. And I understand that. Because when you see Ohio State, they're not shy away from talent. There's going to be more talent after Julian Sayin and Jeremiah Smith. It's not the end. Ohio State's here to stay. Here's the deal, though. For this season and like this year, 2026, you look at the talent and you're like, man, that's great. They have a shot to win it all. They're the number 1 team in the nation. But what about their offense? Their coordinator? Who's calling plays? They don't. And he may be the best coordinator in college football. He may turn out to be the best coordinator in the sport. He may. You never know. But the question still remains. We looked at him at Pittsburgh. We looked at him in Atlanta. We looked at him at Tennessee. We looked at him in the NFL. I mean, that's questionable, man. Like, how he ran those offenses, you're going to bring that to Ohio State? That's a question mark. You think, and you get kind of iffy on it. That's why when I saw the hire, a lot of people were like, oh, Ohio State's going to ball out. Go back and watch some of these games in the NFL. And that's not me being a hater or anything like that. That's me being a pure spectator of the sport and knowing what he has done, knowing the track record. I think that Ohio State has a shot at being really good, but they do have a tough schedule. They do have a coordinator to me is in question. I don't know about in everybody else's mind, but in Joel Norris's mind, I question it. And it's just going to be one of those things where we're just going to have to wait and see. I don't count Ball State. I really don't. I'm not trying to be rude, but they're going to win that game. Double digits. They'll go 1-0. The true test comes week 2 in Austin. So we're going to figure out in that game, hey, are they going to dial it up a little bit? And if they do, and Ohio State goes in there and beats them, then they may be solid. We'll see. But I think that's really the true question, like the true question and first true test, obviously, for is Arthur Smith the dude for Ohio State? We're going to have to figure it out.
I absolutely respect the Buckeyes. How could I not? Because they thumped the Ducks in the Rose Bowl in 2025. But they sent 3 dudes to the NFL in the first 11 picks. And mind you, Ryan Day recruits as well as anyone in the country. But when you lose 3 players like that on defense, that suggests that the offense might have to dial it up just a little bit. And that game control model that the Buckeyes have had for years, where they're very content winning games 24-3. Well, this year they might have to win a couple games 38-28 or 38-31. And it's a different kind of thing. And it requires Smith to stretch himself and get the most out of Julian Sayin, Jeremiah Smith, and Bo Jackson. Admittedly, there's a lot there. And they've got a great offensive line. But he's going to have to change his personality as a play caller.
And Matt Patricia's still there too. So that defense, I'm not too worried about their defense. I mean,
Okay.
I think the offensive line it could be a concern a little bit because of conditioning and injuries to the O line. That could be a concern. But if you're looking at their defense, I'm not too concerned about their defense and who's calling for them. I think Matt Patricia and that defense was really solid last year. I think it could be solid this year. The question is just, can Arthur Smith not bring? Can it be like an innovative offense, really? And I think that's what we're asking for, because they got some playmakers on that team that are used to that innovation type of offense, like going downfield, bombs away type of offense. But Arthur Smith's not really that guy, as you saw in the NFL. Is he bringing that over to Ohio State? Who knows? We got to see. Or is he going to dial it up a little bit more? We don't know. I think it's all going to come in time. To me, we're really not going to find anything out until week 2. I think when they play somebody, that is when you find it out. And that sounds like I'm being totally disrespectful to Ball State. I am not. Ball State, look, good college. I'm not saying anything about Ball State. It's just a competitive mismatch in that game. Texas and Ohio State's a little bit of a different story. So if they can figure that out, and if they can go into week 2 and test themselves that way, and we'll see how Arthur Smith does in that game. Who knows? Maybe I'll eat my words. I won't say, if he prove me wrong, I'll gladly admit that I'm wrong. I'm not that guy. Like, I will gladly admit on air, hey, I was wrong. Can you prove me wrong? We'll see.
Well, it would be inappropriate to leave without saying complete shout out and tip of the cap to Texas and Ohio State to play a game like that. When we're getting a steady diet of, Cupcake U in the early season, for those two squads to put it on the line in a season that they have national championship aspirations and play each other and scrap it up, that is pretty exciting for college football fans.
And a lot of people who were there's bowl predictions on this, not mine, but a lot of people are saying the loser of that game will miss the playoff. A lot of people have been saying that. The loser of that game will miss the playoff. I'm not saying that. I'm just going by what others have been saying. I've been reading up on it and seeing it, and I'm thinking to myself, like, ooh, that's pretty bold. So if you're hyping that game up to be like that, then last year in week 1, the loser of that game missed the playoff, and that was Texas. Maybe it's going to happen again this year. We'll see.
Just like you said, we'll see. Put the football down. Let's play some football next week, or in the coming weeks when we get a chance to talk again. We'll have some football to talk, and that's pretty great.
Absolutely, and we'll be talking about where teams are at right now, or in that current state and time, and we just need to have some football played. That's pretty much all it is. I mean, look, it is fun to talk about predictions. It's fun to talk about all this stuff, but at the same time, man, it's really hard to evaluate teams just off of practice and, this team's going to be a national championship team. We got to see how they play in games, because that's what matters.
Joel, we set the stage and we talk some ball, and I appreciate every minute of it. Before I let you go, what about this whole thing about NFL players coming back to college football to play? What do you think about that?
So, and I touched on Pigskin. We're about to drop that episode here in a little bit. Unpopular opinion. Whose fault is it really? And I'm going to sit here and say, and you see what you just did? You shrugged. And I'll tell you why. Because who's running the sport? Think about it. Who's running the sport? Who's running the sport? We can blame. Exactly. We can blame Lane Kiffin. Okay. Oh, Lane Kiffin getting all these players at LSU, yada, yada, yada. A lot of people are Ole Miss, and I get that. We can blame the NCAA, which, let's be real, NCAA hadn't done nothing since probably 2012. So who's running it? The conferences? If we line up people, okay, and this is what's getting me riled up here. I have a reel on it. if we line up people, okay, and ask them who's running the sport, guy number one, I think the conferences are running the sport. Okay. Guy number two, who's running college football? I think the media partners are running the sport. Number three, the NCAA is. The school. You line up each guy and they're like, give you different answers. Some people will say, because they don't know, because no one's running it. There's no structure. This is why we need a commission, we need a committee, and we need to lay down some structure on eligibility, 5 for 5. And look, I think playing 5 full seasons is a good idea. I'm for it if it's structured right. Commission, committee for that. Commission and committee for portal regulation rules, for NIL regulation rules. Unfortunately, and I hate this because I don't think the NFL and college football shouldn't be like that. But it is semi-pro now. I keep saying it, salary cap, and I don't like saying that, but we're probably going to have to start using a salary cap for NIL. But you may have to establish that. And then fix the calendar. A lot of people are talking about expand the playoff. I know you're talking about NCAA eligibility, but I'm just telling you the problem is the majority of the sport and how it's structured. There's no structure. It's the Wild West. They do need to fix the calendar, and instead of expanding the playoffs, because when you have the season bleeding into February, almost bleeding into February, competing with the NFL playoff, that's not good because people are going to start checking out and start focusing on Super Bowl and conference titles for the NFL. They're not going to focus on college football. They're going to check out. We don't want fans to check out of college football. We want fans to be engaged with college football. And the viewership will go down. We don't want that. That's not good for the sport. So we need to fix the calendar, all of that, and then just leave everything alone for now. We'll talk about expansion, but you need to fix the calendar first. There needs to be structure. That's what I'm trying to get at. The reason why it's the way it is right now, when you have NFL players who played a preseason with the Cleveland Browns, who are now suiting up at Texas or LSU or Missouri or wherever in week 1 in college football, you're going from playing with the pro football to the football with the white stripes on it. You're going backwards. That's where you draw that. Where are we drawing the line? We need help. I mean, and a lot of people are going to sit there and say, I'm riled up now. I'm riled up. We're going to sit here and say, hey, sport's fine. We're good. The structure of it's great. This proves right here that it's not, and we need help. That's all I got to say. We need help.
I agree. I like your idea of having a commission or committee, provided it had 4 strong voices on it, and they were given the authority to fix it.
Yeah, 100%. Whose ideas are good, whose ideas are wonderful. We don't need, and this is nothing against anybody that says be a commissioner, and you probably already know who I'm talking about. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about anybody who will say, if I'm commissioner, we're going to do this, this, this. I don't want it to be a dictating commission, okay? One law, we're not going to do that. We're going to have a set of rules where we vote on things, have a committee, and have a bunch of rules, but we vote on things in terms of good, like in terms for the good, the better of the sport. Not really, here's what's going to happen. We're going to lay the law down. We don't want to be too strict, but at the same time, we want to be strict enough to where we have some sort of structure and layout of how the sport is ran. We don't have anything. It is literally like the showdown at the OK Corral on Tombstone.
Wow.
Anything goes.
Yeah.
Yes. Help us. That's a good way to put it. Help us.
And Joel, I don't want Congress to decide what college football should look like. I want it to be solved or be addressed by people who really know the game.
Yes.
Get Nick Saban or Joel Klatt or Josh Pate or whoever, but people who really know and love the game and have input on the design for the game, having it done by, a bunch of legislators just doesn't make sense, because there's no way they can be up to speed on all the nuances, all the all the things that make college football special.
Yeah, and who know the rights and wrongs and what's happening. And it just seems like we're just business and structure wise, like, look, football on the game, like I said, it's the greatest sport on earth. But if you look on the outside of it, it is, we need help. We're in dire need of help. And it's just going under and under and under. Outside of it, like off the field antics and stuff and rules and regulations, it's like, when's enough enough? When are we going to draw the line? If this isn't going to draw the line, that's terrifying. Like, that's terrifying. If this right here, what's happening now, isn't going to draw the line. Like, this has been probably one of the most wild off seasons I've seen in terms of off the field antics and rules and structures. Like, when's enough enough? When are we going to draw the line in the sand on, okay, we need to get to the bottom of how we can structure everything properly? So,
Joel Norris, Pigskin Frenzy, episodes Tuesday and Thursday on YouTube and other outlets. We appreciate you so much. It was a fun conversation, and I loved some of the dialogue about where college football needs to be and what an incredibly exciting season this will be.
absolutely. I'm pumped. I'm fired up, and man, I'm ready to go. I appreciate you coming on my show a few weeks back. I'm appreciative that you invited me on your show today. So I'm thankful, and like I said, I praise the Lord that I get to do this, man. It's awesome. It's a blessing, and I get to come on here, talk college football, and praise Him and spread His name as a believer in Him. So I'm thankful, and I'm grateful, honestly.
Joel, I admire your integrity. Have a great evening, and thank you again.
Thank you.